What's going on, everyone? New video that I'm uploading. I know I did this a couple weeks ago, but it's a little bit different to what I did before, because before it was who I would sell, and I'm still gonna do that. But obviously now we've seen a couple more players play extra games, and I feel like I've broken down who I would sign. So at the moment, this is like if everyone was not injured, I truly believe this is how we would play. Now Martinez obviously would be a great option to start as well with Pau or with Arohu or with either one. But I think if it was fully fit, Hansi Flick would play these guys. I reckon Hansi Flick's going to do a miracle with Arohu. Just make him more of an intelligent player as well, not just a big guy who obviously is a great footballer, but I think sometimes he lacks maybe that encouragement on how to just make calls that like play better. I don't think he's a dumb player. I just think that he's a player that maybe needs a bit of work, I would say, which a lot of players do anyways in general. I would still say if it was between the three keepers we have, I still reckon Marc-Andre ter Stegen, especially with Hansi Flick being German, maybe he might trust him a bit more and maybe he'll push him and grow him. But look, I don't think he is our solution. I'll give you some options of who I reckon could be the guy. And obviously, when we've seen Lamine out, say he's out of the picture, and we've played Rafinha there, Olmo and Firmino have been marking that. It's been a bit hard. So we obviously need to sign someone in that position. Obviously, the striking position is obviously an option as well. But I have broken it down to 5 positions. So I've written down a striker. I've written down a left back, centre back, defensive mid, left wing, striker. Now I've written 6 positions, and I'm not saying that we need to get these guys ASAP. And obviously with money and everything like that, I think obviously that will take time. But here I'll show you guys what I reckon we should do. So obviously these are your players that you have now. Managers obviously Hansi Flick. I just created this just to make it a bit easier. So I would say that this would probably be the order right now. This is what I reckon it will be, just with ter Stegen injured. Like between these two. At the moment, obviously, Peña's playing, so it'll look like that. But say January comes around, this will look a bit different, I reckon. And obviously, you've got your Balde, Martin, Pau. Obviously, all our defenders are here. Midfielders and attackers. So let's go through who I reckon we could sell and loan. Maybe this is January plus June, July when the big transfer comes in, the summer transfer. But for the winter one, this is what it looks like. This is what our team looks like, and you could obviously already see where our weakness is at. Now, Gerard Martin had a good game against Brest, but I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't trust him. So what I would do if it was in the new season, I reckon we'll lose. I reckon we'll lose him. I was going to say his name, but every time I say it, I get butchered, so I will avoid it. I reckon he will go. I reckon we will stick with these two, but this is where I reckon it's going to get it a bit different. I reckon ter Stegen will go. And I reckon he'll go. I reckon either he'll go or Peña will go. One of them will go. And the way Peña's going, I could see him as a backup, or now I would say he would leave. ter Stegen will stay for one more season next year after his injury, and his backup until he becomes the starter will be you guys know who I'm talking about. He's the Brighton keeper. Also, not only the Brighton keeper, but he's also Holland's a keeper for Holland as well. I think he's good. From what I've seen him play for Brighton, I think he's done a great job, and he's young. I know people have recommended, I can't remember who it was, Velez or something like that, or Valet. I don't see, when I've watched last Palmas games, I don't really rate him. I rate this guy very highly. Now, when it comes to our defense, so leave keepers for now. I think that's a hard one in itself, because we've obviously got a guy who's kind of improving, a guy who's come out of retirement, and a guy who has sort of been in and out. This is what I would say would be a good solution. Left back positions, we've got these two. Balde and Martin. I would say loan out Martin. I don't think we should sell him, and maybe at first I was like, and obviously because he's 22 years old, we saw him play, and I was just a bit not very confident. He did alright, but again, we can't have alright. Like, just I think a loan would be good to see where he's at. That would be my opinion. Then obviously you've got Balde, who I reckon could be our main our main left back, which he is right now, but I would say for competition, and I think someone who could be good is a guy called Souza, something like that. He plays for Santos. Now, I've seen his name float around for about a month now, so I was watching highlights, and I think he could be good. Again, Brazilian players, a lot of the time are sick. They do well. I mean, obviously you get your occasional ones, and I think in Barca's history, we've seen some not work out. But we've seen some that have gone really well. Neymar, Ronaldinho, Rafinha. I think we could do it. Then with the centre-backs that we've got going on. Sergi, I would say this wouldn't be loan. Maybe just send him back to the B team. I would say send him back to the B team or sell him, loan him, don't care. I don't think he's a priority. And now you're looking at our defenders. At the moment, we've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 defenders. And from what it looks like, Christensen will be leaving. From what I could see and where the club is going and what Deco's been saying, it looks like Christensen will leave and potentially Eric Garcia leaving. Now, you're like, okay, well, you've only got 3 centre-backs. What are you going to do? I would say, if that's the case, maybe keep him as a 5th. Maybe even as a 6th. We've also got an academy guy called Cuenca. I would trust him a little bit as the 5th. From when he's played for Barcelona this season, few minutes, but even in the Barcelona B team, I think he's done well. But from what I could see, and also would be good for us because he's free, would be Jonathan Tah. When I see him play for Leverkusen, I think this guy is sick. So I would say I highly recommend he would be a good option. Jonathan Tah, I would say, would be a great one. I think with these 2 guys next season as backup and these 2 as our main centre-backs, I reckon we can do definitely bits with these guys. Now, our right back position is the one position that I genuinely am quite confident with. Now, Koundé, I wouldn't even say against Brest. I think he did alright there, but the last 2 games before that, I would say maybe has been a little bit off. But you look at the overarching picture of this year, he's been phenomenal. Like, he's been awesome. And Hector Ford, I would trust him without even a doubt. I would trust him now as a left back more than I would Gerard Martin. But this is what I would say for our defense line. And again, maybe another centre back there to cover up that position a little bit more. Again, Andreas Cuenca, I would trust him as the 5th man. That's how I would line it up. If we didn't sell Christensen, I would say he would be there. Eric Garcia, I think we need a loan or sell for sure. Midfielders, Gavi, Pedri, Pablo Toure, Firmin, Casado, Olmo, and De Jong. Now, this would probably be one of our strongest side when it comes to midfield, but what I would change up in this team, keep him. These 2 guys, definitely. Pablo Toure, I think, just keep trusting him, see how he goes. I still reckon another season. He's still young. I don't see the rush in selling him anytime soon. Firmin, I think a backup for Olmo and rotational is awesome. Casado is our only defensive midfielder. So we definitely need to sign someone, and I've got someone in mind. And Frankie de Jong, I think we've tried with him playing that defensive mid role, and it hasn't been it. Unfortunately, I think it's time for me to officially say I think it's time to sell. I think who was it against? Oh, it was when we I'm gonna get it up because this thing frustrated me. Where is it? It was the game against Celta Vigo when we conceded the second goal and Fort is running after someone defending, and you're like, oh, De Jong's gonna get there, and I don't know why, but he was standing still, and I'm like, mate, drop back and help Ford out. Like, we can't have you just standing still. Like, we need you to move. So my solution for this scenario would be a guy that maybe a lot of you don't know is Morten Human. I can't say it. Plays for Sporting. He's a Danish player. I think he's sick. Obviously, you see the Sporting team and you see these highlighted names that are good, but then you see this guy and each week he plays the game steady. He's strong on the ball. He's just a great player. And again, like, we've got a lot of creative players. We need some people to hold the fort down, and I think him and Casado, I think, could be the 2 guys that could do that really, really well. So he would be my second. He would be the person I would sign in the midfield. So you've obviously got 4 players, obviously not all realistic because he'll probably cost bids. He would cost bids. Jonathan Tah would come on a free, but wages obviously plays a part. And Souza, I'm not sure what that would be by the time we look at getting him if that happens. And then obviously the forwards. Firstly, if I had to be honest with you guys, I mean, a lot of you guys would know this. I would say get rid of Fernand Torres. I think I just no, thank you. I can't be bothered dealing with a vegetarian shark. Lewandowski, I think keep him next season as well. I think he would be good as a leader in general. I think as a striker who can rotate. And I also think like just his presence is really good for the club. Fatsy, unfortunately, I would also loan him. Now, you're like, what the heck? He's like our young boy. Like, yeah, we loved him. But sometimes things that you love, you got to move on because this is too long now. Like, injuries, oh yeah, he'll be back. Like, when he has played and when he has started and when he has come on, nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. Nothing gets me going. I think he's scared, which I get because of injuries. He looks timid. It's time to get rid of him. Loan him, sell him, don't care. Let's clear it. So, I would say Pau Victor, I would say another season's fine because he's good because he can play left wing, right wing. I mean, not that he's going to get you a hat-trick in games, but I would say keep him around and give him another season. Because we haven't seen a full season of him anyways. So you're like four. You've obviously got Unai Hernandez that could come up. Danny Rodriguez, Gulli Fernandez, Tony Fernandez. Like you've got the young players that could come in and take a slot or two here. But I would also replace them. Because I think when Lamine was out and Rafinha played on the right, we really struggled. And if Rafinha gets injured and Lamine's on the right, we need backup, guys. We need backup. And Nico or Leao, I would say Leao for me. I would say this guy like is so domineering in a game. Like this guy is so sick to watch play. I think he's proven himself enough. I think he loves Barcelona and that's what we need. So I would bring him on for sure. And you're like, well, Rafinha, man, we can rotate. We can play Rafinha attacking mids if we need to. Like, we can't think little anymore. Like, we've got so many games in a year. We need good players as backup and as starters and rotating. Not like back in the days where you have 7 subs and limited games and you have 5 good players, 2 okay players, and that, like, you need multiple good players nowadays. I would say the backup for Lewandowski would be, now, everyone's giving that option. Gyökeres, I don't see it. I think United will be an option more. I just don't see it for us, or maybe an Arsenal. Sesko, I think he's good. I still don't know if I fully back him. I don't know why. You've got your Haalands. I don't think that he would be a Barcelona style. Personally, who else would there be? Sesko, Gyökeres, Jonathan David. I still wouldn't be like our starting guy. The only guy that I think could play our style well, he's La Liga proven, and I think he's a beast. Alexander Isak. I think this guy is sick. I love watching him play. This is what I think could be the thing for Barcelona. This is what I personally think. Tell me I'm wrong. I would love to hear your feedback, but this is my thing. I'll catch you guys later. Enjoy the Champions League.